Being openly gay, it wasn't easy for me, sort of, to be honest. I was ashamed of it and so on, but I knew in my mind that it was the right thing to do, and that these feelings of shame and inferiority weren't realistic. It was the culture that was unrealistic.
Gays for Equality was certainly the first actively political group in Manitoba, and it remained so, I would have said, for close on 20 years. And university campuses were very important in that. The early groups were all, or almost all, established on university campuses because they provided a kind of haven from the police and from everybody else, landlords and so on, so that being a student organization and having the office and the telephone line and so on was central to be able to get going. In the spring of 1974, very early, we attempted to be legally married. And that got, as we hoped it would, a great deal of publicity.
We didn't do it because we had any particular enthusiasm for marriage. We did it because homosexuals were excluded from the institution. It was about getting media coverage that was positive about homosexuality in order to try and change opinions. And then it was just a matter of figuring out how we were going to do it.
We tried to get a license and were turned down by the province. And it happened that that minister, Norm Naylor, had been involved in rewriting the Provincial Marriage Act to eliminate sexist and sectarian references, so there was no reason under the legislation, either federal or provincial, why we couldn't be married.
Well, I guess we had no idea when we were married in the Unitarian Church in '74 what was going to happen. Gays for Equality was about equality in all areas, and this was an obvious area in which discrimination was very much present.
We were preceded by a number of other social change movements that laid the groundwork. First of all, establishing the principle that we worked on, that you should judge people on their own merits and not on the basis of some category that we belong to. Well, I was political because Rich thought it was a good idea and I was in love with him, and I had to agree that that was the right thing to do. Certainly the basis had been established through other movements, through the notion that it was almost up to young people like ourselves to do these things, because otherwise they might not happen. Certainly we were convinced that we were right, and I think it turned out that we were. And the ultimate objective then, as now, is absolute equality, that it wouldn't matter whether you were gay or lesbian or heterosexual, either yourself or your relationships.
Other issues like human rights protection, they weren't specific to homosexuality. You can be discriminated against for any number of reasons. Marriage dealt with the core issues. So it seemed like a wonderful way to obtain a platform for public education about homosexuality. I guess I think that we've got it all in Canada. We have human rights protection, we have same-sex marriage, there's an increasing awareness of the rights of transsexual people. All you have to do is read the newspaper, turn on the television, and see that we're very lucky to live in Canada.